Yeah. Probably the one thing for sure is that it's most likely not going to be the ex-goalie lore. As fun as that would be to see broken out in the final match of the day, it's almost certainly not going to be that. And it is looking like it's going to be that Juno goalie with the flying Blobbos are going to be flying from the goalie box this time. Interesting to see what kind of goalie gear goes on that Juno. Of course, there's a lot of different schools of thought on the Juno. So interesting to see which one we see Pensando belongs to. But on the other side, of course, yeah, we do see that Dubu, that now that Kazan coming out. A lot of good notes to potentially get with that one. The Blobbo Heart coming out from Sovereign at the start of this, in high spirits even after that last loss. Eternal Arctic passing down to Sovereign. Black Hole hits him, does a ton of damage, but he gets the double barrier anyways through the Blobbo. Of course, level 1 Kazan, not usually a highlight, but Sovereign somehow managed to make it work. And we see Alchemy getting that one barrier on the other side. Alonso passing forward. Sovereign going into the Blobbo, going down to the bottom. Quick leverage into the ult. Not quite enough to pass from Dubu forward. The now not quite perfect. And the arrow was set up, but Sovereign just wasn't quite able to get to it. Pass up to Eternal Arctic. Now arrow as well for a dribble into the corner. Alchemy trying to use some X-Tech to get that double strike through. Sovereign using the ult as well. The now teleports forward, and finally it goes through.
Nice stuffing there from Sovereign. Able to force it through Juno here. Fire Maiden opting in to the Mag Souls once again for that extra midfield speed. The core was kind of kept away from him for a lot of that match, so wasn't really able to do too much, but that was 0.1, so it doesn't really count all that much. We'll see what they're able to do here as energy is coming up across the board, and not a lot of Orb Dancer stacks have come up either, so the game hasn't quite fully committed just yet. But we'll see here as the play starts to get aggressive coming out from the side of Flying Blobbos right now with this push. The Soup's got to come out to shut down that one as things get reset back to neutral a bit.
Now, we've seen a lot of good defense so far from both teams, but so far Eternal Sovereign slightly behind on the defense. That is going to be a kill happening. The power play and also the Sad Boys angle, really unfortunate, but Sovereign managed to get one barrier, also used the ultimate to keep from going in the goal. The log down at the bottom's really nice. Black Hole hits Sovereign, and so does the X. That Boris doing so much damage. Somersault comes out, puts it down to the corner of the slime, into the proximity drone from now. Able to defend so far. Sovereign heals up just enough to not be staggered, but is very low on health again. Now is staggered again instantly. Eternal Arctic gets staggered, and Juno sends it down to the goal.
Really nice eject button from Pensando there. And actually a really good placement of the ultimate slimes as well. Because Sovereign was like up there, right? And ended up dashing through and hitting a whole bunch of them and taking a lot of damage. And didn't get KO'd, but got kind of just taken out of the play. Because with Kazan, you have such low stagger, you got to be like really careful about that kind of stuff. And it set up for a pretty solid game state. And then Pensando, of course, was able to capitalize with the eject button flip. And resetting the orbs is really nice, and having some orbs up as well, pretty good. Alchemy with a nice shot to the top will be able to continue that momentum and keep things going. One more orb for Pensando, and this Juno will be flying.
Yeah, flying indeed right at the start of the match there with the Blobbo, but not quite able to get too much done. Gets a little before momentum, causes some cooldowns to be used. Finally, though, Alchemy is the one to take it, almost a double with the Bull Rush into strike, but not quite enough. Alonso on this goal, of course. When he was getting killed in the last match, it's a little hard to see, but is really good at that goal. Sovereign as well, really good on that offense, getting the double barrier. Eternal Arctic going for a dribble with the now arrow into the goal as well. Not quite getting the lineup, though. Fire Maiden and Pensando rock solid on the defense on the other side as well. Sovereign trying to strike where all the slimes, but there's just so darn many of them that it's basically impossible to do. Topher Fortress also coming out. Eternal Arctic also using that now secondary, that proximity drone. Alchemy taking so much damage to the Black Hole, and the now arrow also somersaulting so far forward. Alonso is basically a forward at this point, going to get Bull Rush, but doesn't do too much. Alchemy very low in the goal, getting crooked leverage, having to use that corpse to just stay alive. Does get killed, but does get the barrier in the end, so it's kind of a worthwhile trade, especially if Fireman gets him done with the core flip. Not quite enough. The strike is really nice. Pensando is going all in, and it works out. 3-1. Flying Blobbo takes set 1.
Some really good plays here from Pensando. Some good defense, a lot of good use of that jump on the open goal, and of course, that last score right there. Picked up the orb and just became the new aggro. When you're in a power play, you either have to commit to defense or commit to offense, and they committed to offense there, and it ended up paying out really well. Got the 1-2 punch hover coming out. More core speed. Unstoppable going to be picked up by Fire Maiden. Will allow the Monu to go over to the now. Not as crazy as it used to be. Rampage on Sovereign. which is a little bit scary considering this is Might of the Colossus. Kazan could be a bit tough to deal with, especially when you have Kai on your team, or Pondero on the Dubu is, I think, a really big highlight as well. We also got Size on Alpha Me, so both the brawlers kind of set right now, and both the goalies looking really good. Alonso with the double max orbs plus Mon Boots. I mean, this is Ice Skate's Dubu. This guy can run up on the edge of the wall and kind of be scary. Play a lot offensively now as well to kind of match Pensando.
Yeah. The other thing, though, with that 1-2 punch on Pensando, going to be a lot of speed coming out of there. We're going to see a little bit as we go, but so far it's just the strikes up to Alphami, who gets the one barrier, the second barrier, not quite done, but so much black hole damage onto Now and the Kazan Sovereign and Eternal Arctic. But of course, Eternal Arctic able to use the proximity drone to heal up a little bit, back down to half HP. Down goes the barrier as well. The Giga Blast goes wide. Alphami almost goes off the edge of the map, but saving that core flip. Still alive for now. Might have to use that very soon. Black hole also almost up. Eternal Arctic going for a very creative angle with the core flip there, but not quite getting anything. Gets it to Sovereign, though, who puts it into the barrier. Almost into the net, though. The Slimes, though, able to rescue it away. Alphami not quite hitting the angle on the bottom, but it gets around to the top thanks to the help of Fire Main on the rebound, and that is a goal.
Nice shot there. Be able to keep things going. Eternal Arctic has been stuck at this one orb. It's definitely been a little bit rough, and I think it's been hurting their midfield momentum quite a lot, considering how well Fire Maiden plays with the speed. Well, nice KO there. Will certainly deafen that a little bit. Not having a brawler is going to be tough. The Soup coming out in the top corner. Big push comes through. The barrier will, of course, fall off of that. Pretty decent power play to work with, but now it's Sovereign who might be on the trading end of that. The core flip coming out, though. The offense looking to continue here for the side of, Eternal Sovereigns.
Yeah, so many abilities used, and of course, so much HP exchanged on the forwards that they basically just sacrifice their health bars to try and get these barriers. But when you sacrifice so much and you don't even get the barrier like right then, it's so difficult to get things done later on. You get killed by a slime off the back end of the play, and you've already lost control of the core, and now you're losing your life as well. So that's just really a disaster and a death spiral in some ways. Power play so far isn't getting too much done. That's, though, is a double kill. Fire Maiden picking up the kill onto the Now. Yeah, Kazan is back right now, but they're still in a 1v3 as Dubu goes down, but somehow Sovereign picks up one barrier. Sovereign able to keep this play alive somehow, impossibly against all odds, going into overtime. Eternal Arctic is back. The Black Hole dribble from Fire Maiden buys a little bit of time, but you don't really want to be buying time when you're in the power play. Now we have a 3v3 again, and if somehow Eternal Sovereigns comes back from this play, it'll be incredible. The Slimes, though, red coring with that 1-2 punch in overtime, so incredible. As we see that going back and forth around, we see a red core going over to Alphami. The log is low, and the pass is high. Just covering all his bases is Alonso. Can he get it to Sovereign? The core was really nice. Goes up to Alphami. Not a perfect dribble in the corner there, but now actually sends it into the goal. Eternal Arctic, unfortunately, sending it in. After all of that, that is the way that it ends. Not with a bang, but with a whisper.
I mean, what a round to unpack there. Some great awareness and quick decision-making from Pensando with the core flip direction. Alonso walked up and dropped the wall to cut off that straight angle, and Pensando found Alphami regardless. But, I mean, Sovereign held it down in the 1v3. They got scored on eventually, but it was a pretty incredible stand for a minute. I mean, the ultimate caster curse coming out once again as Fire Maiden just casually able to sink it right in and take the set. 2-0 now. The side of Flying Blobbos is, well, they're looking to make this a formality as I see the Egoist up on the board, and that very well might just be what seals the deal.
Yeah, I mean, Egoist is really good, especially on X, because speed on X just allows him to track people down that much better. And when it's on the core flip as well, he just chases you down, hits you, and then core flip kills you. So much to do there. Stagger Swagger as well in the Kazan, though, going to be trying to alleviate that a little bit, countering the speed and the damage as well. Super Surge on that Juno, she gonna be flying. She's going to be going all the way across the map with the eject button Super Surge. Going to be absolutely insane. Would love to see an Aerials if this goes for another set somehow. That would be great. But of course, that's somehow because it is difficult here for the Eternal Sovereigns to contend with what has happened with this draft. I mean, so much damage going to be coming out of the Flying Blobbos when they've already been struggling to stay alive. But Fire Maiden taking a lot of damage here. Sovereign looking to do his due diligence on that sort of half-brawler forward on that Kazan, trying to get things done. Alphami, though, getting that first barrier here, and we just see so much with the Giga Blast as well, securing the goal in the end.
Yeah, some pretty good dominating offense coming out from Flying Blobbos. Seems like there's just not a lot of Eternal Sovereigns can do. They just don't seem to have the answers for Alphamy and Firemade. There's not really a great way to shut them down, and being down on the orbs is definitely not great either. You do have an opportunity here, bringing down both barriers. Now mine will, get disarmed. Pensando, though, looking to make a play and reignite this powerful offense once again. The Giga Blast keeping things going, and then Barrage to force it through. Alonso, great use of the Twin Drive. The barrier still holding on. The core flip pass from Eternal Arctic will be able to clear it out. Sovereign able to cook in the top side. And it will be Eternal Sovereigns able to put themselves on the board, prove that there is still some hope.
Yeah, and it is also on the back of a KO as well there with the power play. Eternal Arctic also locking in after that unfortunate own goal, really contributing to the defense. And we see as well on the offense as well, the pass up to the top, but it's intercepted by Firebane, goes around, not quite a Sad Boys though. One barrier secured by the Flying Blobbos. Second one interrupted by the Tofu Fortress. They're really good placement by Alonso, just keeping this play alive, keeping the barrier alive. Well, Eternal Arctic missing the strike on the top. They're trying to just stay alive, trying to do so many different things at once against that, and especially against the Flying Blobbo, but that somersault was perfect from Alonso, just stopping that Juno in her tracks there. But in the end, it's going to be that red core going around the field that catches him off guard. He has the core flip available to defend the open goal. Tofu Fortress comes out as well. Eternal Arctic goes to the bottom. Sovereign as well. The Blobbo not able to stop that barrier from going down. Eternal Arctic with proximity drone as well, and the arrow as well. Core flip there sends Alphamy into Sovereign as well as the core, and that's going to be Alphamy going down, but just that Blobbo again, and Eternal Arctic did successfully use a secondary there, did interrupt it for a little bit, but it was just such a crazy angle by Pensando there on that Blobbo.
Pensando been making the big plays for sure. Definitely been providing that offensive presence that you really need to see when you have a Juno goalie to make this work. And jumping up again, the speed from Fire Maiden as well to keep things going. Picks up an orb, pops the Blazing Haste, and then just crosses midfield and can run so fast to reposition. Corflip's getting burnt here with an open goal. Alphamy looking to pick up this core potentially. It might just be a formality here as the KO will seal the deal. The power play's enough to sink it in. Alphamy will take it home as Flying Blobbos will take that final qualification spot.
Yeah, and I mean, in flying fashion as well as the Blobbos are. I mean, not to discredit the Eternal Sovereigns too much, they played really well when they were alive is the issue, though. The Eternal Sovereigns really need to go back to the drawing board for work 2 and work on their survivability, how they play against a kill comp, whether it's going back to the drawing board on their draft of characters, or whether it's just saying, hey, we just need to change the way we play away from the edges more, dodge more, those kinds of things. But either way, the Eternal Sovereigns had so many highlights, but also so many lowlights when they were getting knocked off the map there, just because the Flying Blobbos just were relentless in the damage, in the KOs, doing everything they could to make sure that there wasn't anyone in their way on these goals. So just absolutely well played by both teams, but the Flying Blobbos in flying fashion.
Yeah, looking really good on that final game there and making a well-deserved qualification spot. We'll see them in landing for sure, but well, that's our final game of the night. That's all that we have today. That's it for Launchpad Day 1. Next week, there's going to be another chance, of course, another day of Launchpad for some teams to try and make it in still. But that's all we have for tonight. AJ, you have anything you want to say before we leave?
Good luck to all the teams participating for those 6 slots in next week. Going to be a blast to see how you play and how the teams go back to the drawing boards between matches to see how they improve. Good luck to everyone and have a good night.
Good night.